better, and maybe you can also write a letter, because this is not quite right to change all this and make it so complicated. So to the word flamenco, it's really an art form where we don't know when it really started. They do say it started when the gypsies arrived in Andalusia, but they're very possible some similar art form existed before, and I'm not quite sure how where the word came from. Many different books, different explanations. I found between last week and this week another explanation. Flama in Spanish means the flame or the fire, so it sounds kind of logical that kind of fits to this art form. But the truth is, nobody really truly knows where this word comes from. What is flamenco? We talked a little bit last week about this. And we should see the next slide. Yes.
Yes, we do.
We have. Oh, good. Oh, good. I don't see it on my computer, but I'm happy you're seeing it. So we have different things which always are part of flamenco. El cante is the singing, el baile. Everybody thinks flamenco is only about dancing. That's outside of Spain, kind of the assumption. But you will be surprised to hear that much higher regarded is the art form of flamenco singing. Baile is just one other form of expression of flamenco. El toque is the guitar playing. We have the jaleo, which is shouts of encouragement, which is toma and ole and all the shouts we know in Spanish. In palmas and pitos, you will hear quite some amazing performances today, which are really fabulous ways of contributing to a performance. There are many times moments where you can see in flamenco just the singer and the palmas. You don't need all the time all of these elements in flamenco. Just and I will talk later about el cante fonde, what it is. But el cante really we have to understand, especially people who have grown up with the Western tradition of music, that there's a different sound ideal in flamenco singing. It's all about how much depth you give to the expression of emotion. And considering that we heard last week the history of gypsies and Moorish people and Spanish Inquisition, that life wasn't all so pretty always. So the emotion expressed a lot about the hardship, the pain, the suffering. We heard one song where it says, don't cry no more. And these are often typical lyrics. And so when you sing something from the bottom of your heart and soul, it was self-understood that the sound ideal is not always just that it's a pretty voice. So flamenco singing has a much rougher sound. It's raspy voices, sometimes dark, because the most tribute is given to how deep is the emotion you're expressing, not how pretty it sounds. You see how different it is actually in Western culture, and it's very, so now you should see another slide.
Yeah. Yes, yes we do.
And so I listed here some of the typical themes we see in cante flamenco songs. So of course many songs are about love, a lot of them about faith, morality, some are religious, some are social, status, humor. There's some really funny twists. I mean, the Spanish Andalusian humor is pretty particular. About people, about honor. Gypsies had a huge honor code. Stars and often also supernatural powers. Usually those lyrics are not that long in El Cante. They are often, because it's these Arabian, Moorish, arabesque, so you repeat often those lines and you elaborate vocally on those lines. So that's what we call the lines, are those 4 lines of 8 syllables, and they are many times repeated over and over and modified vocally. You do see, and we should see another, very slow today, I don't know. Come on. Yeah. We differentiate between different, it's almost because we just talk about flamenco, about zarzuela. And you remember how we had the género grande and the género chico. A little bit we see the same in flamenco. We have el cante hondo, it's the deep song, and often those are associated with certain festivities. There's the saeta, for example. They're only sung during Easter week, so they're very religious songs. And a saeta is always with no accompaniment. That's most of the time true for all the cante hondo. There are certain type of dance forms applied, so polos, guerrillas, solea, saeta, malagueñas. So often these are sung with no instrumental accompaniment because, like I said, in flamenco music or in the art of flamenco, the highest form is really the song and not the dance, how we always think. El cante chico is the bolerías, alegrías, the tango, fandango, etc. And then there's some popular songs. So that's also to recognize, and we wait for the next slide to load. It's not that here. Then here, this is the Walker saying, so El Cante Hondo is the deep song. It's truly deep, deeper than all the wells and oceans of the world. It comes from the first thought and the first kiss. And isn't it beautiful? Garcia Lorca always knew how to put it so well. And I would like to give you a taste of this flamenco. It's really many examples I put on our course website. But this is one of the examples where you hear, and you can tell it's not about all pretty singing. And maybe before I go to play it for you, one other thing I have to tell you. In flamenco, when we recognize that somebody is really singing the most amazing things, with the greatest expression, we kind of say that, oh, this person has been possessed by a duende. When you look up in the dictionary, duende, it means an elf or something like this they give you. I mean, and it really doesn't express what a duende is to a Spaniard or a gypsy in flamenco. So here Garcia Lorca is capturing it maybe the best. I don't see the slide. Maybe one of you can read it for me. That would be great because I don't see it. Angel and Muse come from the outside. Do you see it? Maybe I have it. Hold on.
Yes, it's in the screen.
Okay, here I have it. Angel and Muse come from outside. The angel brings light, the muse form. But duende has to be roused from the innermost reaches of the blood. We have to drive away the angel, banish the muse, and overcome the fear of the scent of violets. and feel the mighty telescopes in whose lenses the moon sleeps thick of her confinement. So pretty deep. You might want to look about this poem of Garcia Lorca another time later. Yeah, that's what to Spaniard is El Duende. So it's not just a mere translation you can summarize in one word. It's so much more. So just for you to enjoy, this is one video where you get a little taste of what real flamenco sounds. And it's not about the pretty young voice. It's the more expression, and the more you have El Duende from the bottom of your soul. So here, enjoy. This is flamenco pure.
All guests have been muted.
My video is finished.
All guests have been unmuted.
I should raise my hand.
Yes, hello?
Yes,
Can you hear me all?
we are here, yes.
Yes, and the music just ended. That's true. So, Laura, you have another question? Oh, you can hear, but I have no idea where we are in the music. Oh, it ended. Okay. So we are, I think, on the same page. So, like I said, it's really all about the depth. And as you can see, the gypsies here, they look down on the town and all in this desolate, isolated spot, looking all by themselves. And so it's a lot this type of sentiment if you know the history of the gypsies in Spain, as we discussed last week, then it makes actually more sense, this particular type of sound and music and way of expressing yourself. Well, in 1922, it was quite a very crucial event that Garcia Lorca and Manuel de Falla both moved to Granada, or de Falla, I think, who just came from Catalonia, and they established the first flamenco conference in Granada, and that was really to protect this art form from extinction. And but then, of course, civil war happened in the 30s, and things actually got difficult. But to this day, this music festival does exist and continue to exist, and it's quite an amazing place to this day. If you want true flamenco, you have to go to Granada. Garcia Lorca, he writes, like the primitive Indian musical system, deep song is a stammer, a wavering emission from the voice, a marvelous vocal undulation that destroys the resonant self of our tempered scales and eludes the cold, rigid stuff of modern music, turning the tightly closed flowers of the semitone blossom into 1,000 petals. As we can hear, of course, it's the Moorish influences. We don't have just half steps and whole steps. We have what he calls here correctly semitones inverted in the musical lines, and that gives this Moorish touch to them. Well, today, where do we hear nowadays flamenco? I mean, De Falla just made his house and his garden open to anybody who was associated with flamenco. So he had his own flamenco place almost. His house became a flamenco place. And to this day, they don't have it quite open for the public, but De Falla's house is still in its place, in its original form in Granada. Today in Spain you can see flamenco in the so-called juerga. Juerga can be any spontaneous gathering of musicians, and they start maybe just having dinner together, and suddenly out of that evolves like we have in jazz. We call it in jazz the jam session. In flamenco we call it una juerga. The singers who are performing here, they have a special name too, cantaores. So if you call somebody a cantaores, everybody knows it's not an opera singer. That, right, Pili, that we do know it's right away a flamenco singer. Yes. And even to this day, we have here in San Diego the Peña Flamenca, and that's where you can see the festivities. Sometimes there's a Peña Flamenca for special holidays, for national celebrations. So many times there's a reason behind. We do have the Peña Flamenca here in San Diego. If you're interested, I can always forward this information to you. Then in the end of the 19th century, it started where we see what they call tablaos. Those are establishments throughout Spain, sometimes a cafe, it could be a bar, where a company of flamenco dancers will daily perform. Like when I went just in August to Spain, in one of those caves in Sacramonte in Granada, was a tablao where you heard the real flamenco. And this is like a professional concert version where often it's a gypsy clan who runs this one tablao and performs every night, and sometimes they go on tour. So these are all words associated around flamenco. I think we are ready for another example of flamenco. So here, I have to do it on my other computer. And here, enjoy.
Thank you.
All guests have been muted. All guests have been unmuted.
Yes, hello. Everybody is back?
Yes.
Okay, so as you can see, I really wanted you to see not the tourist type of flamenco. I really want to introduce you to what really flamenco was originally about. It's nowadays almost impossible to find this so pure form of flamenco. This was the typical juerga in the middle of the street, as you can see, and it doesn't take the polka dot dresses and the colorful flowers. Those maybe are added during festivities, but the regular everyday juerga used to look just like this. And what also was understood when you think of El Duende, we have the understanding that one cantaor can never suffer in the same way like another one. And so and that's why one particular style of singing is always associated with a particular cantaor. And when that cantaor passes away, that form actually, it's understood that El Duende dies with him. So flamenco is understood to be this hypnotic art, and El Duende may be a state of trance when you really get to the bottom of your innermost blood, and you don't think about form and beauty and whatever it is we think in music or in our world and in our conscious. So you just are possessed by El Duende. I don't know, Pili, can you add something to it, or
No, you are perfect. Absolutely perfect. Exactly
yeah.
how it is.
Well, after all, I'm German, right? Trying to grasp here really something quite deep.
But you are from a family of
yes. Yes. After 21 years in the Romero family, I learned a little bit. And they're not flamenco musicians, so they're classical musicians. But still, you do start to understand the type
blood.
Yeah, it's in the blood, I think. And as you heard, let me go back to one other slide. And it's not showing, I think. Hold on. I don't again see what you see. This is today really, no, I'm looking for one particular slide. Oh dear. That's no. All the different things which are included in flamenco, because we just really heard that so well. If I go back to this particular slide, and it should show, you still see the emotion. Yeah. So we had El Cante. So it did interchange. There was different people in this video singing. And that's typical for a juerga. It's not always just one singer. It's everybody just jumps in. El Baile, what the beautiful part of it is really that the true art of flamenco is never just understood to be reserved for the young and pretty. Everybody has a place in flamenco because the value is given to the depth of performance. So it's very democratic art form because, as you just saw, there was a very old lady dancing, and she had in her movement, it was understood she has the same grace or more than a young girl who doesn't quite have the experience than she does. And we saw the guitar playing, of course. We saw a lot of the jaleo, so people shouting of encouragement, the ole and toma, and we saw everybody palmas, the hand clapping, and they have a different way. It's so loud when they clap, and the intricate rhythm they as you can tell, it would be impossible to write all these rhythms down. Just literally impossible. And then we have pitos are the finger snapping, right, Pili?
Yes.
So I'm so glad you're in my class, so I can always double check. This is Spanish.
That you say it all. That's great.
So
I just can add a little thing as an anecdote. That's for personal experience. If anyone has carpal tunnel syndrome, you can heal it with the hand movements of the flamenco.
That's great, because you move these arabesque movements of your hands. I'm sure.
I am always doing that with my hands.
That's great. In my mother-in-law was every morning. She was, when she passed away, 89 years old. But to the last day of her life, she was on a stationary bicycle playing castanets to Spanish flamenco music or to the music of her family. And she was just all the time, she had no arthritis in her hands. Her hands were like the hands of a young girl, like my hands right now. Actually, it was quite amazing. So flamenco is good in that. And it can happen literally any place. And una juerga is always about that you connect to the people in the room who are participating. And so spontaneous atmosphere, and I put here just some tributes to it. It's warmth versus anonymity, creation versus rigidity of form, for example, emotions versus intellect, instinct versus schooling, fun versus formality. So I think it's almost everything against what we in Western cultures usually are for, and that's so typical for flamenco. And like I say, it can include cante, toque, and violin. It doesn't have to be necessarily. You have performances where there's only guitar. There's only the tapping. We will next week actually see, I don't think this week, we will see Carmen Amaya. So today we got through the singing, but we do have to see more of the dancing part. Again, juerga flamencas can happen pretty much anywhere. You just saw one in the middle of the street almost. It can be at a cafe, in the taberna, in plaza, the garden of some. It doesn't have to be so formal, and it doesn't have to be with people in jeans. You don't have to have the appropriate attire. Of course, that's always desired, but thinking of in the past, not always gypsies were very wealthy, and so you lived with what you had, and you shared whatever you were. And there are many flamenco dancers very famous for their art. There's so many. I shouldn't even show one because this is also a typical picture from, this was a cafe cantante where suddenly gypsies received more recognition in Spanish society, because now there was a formal place for their flamenco performances and dances, and it was really occurring in 1890s, and since then we have cafe cantantes or tablaos also called. Then what I think is very significant too, and so in the 1880s, it was the first person who really started documenting flamenco lyrics and the singers and investigating the theory. The sad thing is by then a lot of the history has gotten lost because it was just always passed on from one family to another, so no written scriptures are there to be found, and who knows how far actually really flamenco goes back. So it's just all we have is the first attempt to capture the history of flamenco. Flamenco, of course, is very much associated with bullfights, and because bullfight in many ways reflects the emotional world of Andalusian or Spanish people, Barcelona is one of the cities who has now legally abolished bullfights, I believe. There's a huge discussion about it. I told in my land classes when I came back from Spain, we took this year one of my grandsons, step-grandsons, with us, and he was 15 years old, and I wanted him to see it himself and make his own opinion. So I went in 21 years. I have always gone to Spain. I have attended one bullfight. So I'm not a fan of it. I just cannot stomach them. But I do recognize how engraved in the Spanish fiber it is. So life with all its stresses, challenges, difficulties, death, survival, and resurrection are metaphysical and spiritual common concerns, which are expressed by the art of bullfight and by the art of the matador in the bullfight. And you saw some of the dancers imitate a lot those movements of bullfighters, so there's a very clear association with this art form, no doubt. And we just wait. This Catholic Church had to literally endorse or embrace Andalusian art forms like flamenco because it was just too engraved in the cultural heritage. And so there are some festivities which are on the Catholic calendar which are not have a religious origin. But that's in all cultures. So I think Carnival in Germany is a big deal in certain areas in Germany, and that's a pagan custom. So the same is true with Andalusia and the flamenco customs and how they have melted together with the church calendar, literally. Next slide. Just waiting for it to load. There's a huge, here's some of these festivals I wanted to share with you, but Vendimias is the grape harvest, Huelvas is the Columbus voyage. So there's many, I just listed a few, which are reason enough for Andalusians to get together to celebrate this cultural heritage of flamenco, which includes the art of dance, song, and guitar playing. And what is also amazing, and it tells you how important flamenco is and recognized as such a unique art form. There's not any other place on earth where you can find an art form similar to this. UNESCO declared, therefore, in 2010, the form of flamenco one of the masterpieces of oral and intangible heritage of humanity. The flamenco dance style derives much from Romani dancing that has elements that can be traced all the way back to northern India, from where the Romani originated and can still be seen there in the present-day covered dances. So it's usually UNESCO doesn't bother with an art form. It's more places, buildings. But in this case, they felt this is too important in the cultural heritage of humans. So with that, I think we have run out of time. So next week I will really get to the dance and talk about. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to continue next week. Do you have any questions?
No, I just wanted to congratulate you about the fact that you don't enjoy the corrida. In my whole life, I've seen only one which was superb, was the best of the best, because my husband was German and he wanted to see it, and he was very impressed, but that was just one time, and it was excellent, but I would never go again, and I'm happy when they would stop with it.
Yeah, but then it's so, there's right now the big discussion, is it an art form, is it really just a sport of killing? So it's a big discussion, even in Spain right now when I was there. But somebody else wanted to say something.
Can you see, do I have my little hand raised? Can you see that, or is that only on my computer? I put my hand up. Do you see that?
No, I don't see it.
Okay, but I have
Nowadays, I have to scroll all the way down to see that somebody raised a question. That's very great. Before, something was flashing on my side and I could see it. Now it's a little button next to your name. So sorry about that.
My question is, with the Spanish moving or going to Mexico, did this music go to Mexico too? I mean, do they do flamenco in Mexico, like Zarzuela moves that way, or am I completely off base there?
No, Zarzuela actually did take quite some hold in Mexico. So because they had their own, they very quickly developed their own Zarzuela companies, and like I mentioned, Placido Domingo's parents formed their own Zarzuela company in Mexico. And there are flamenco dances, but Mexico has so many of their own dances and dances. They have the mariachi, they have the mariachi dancing. So I think the Mexican culture always was very proud of their own. And after all, you have to think the Spaniards were in the moment the conquistadores. So if everything was done really to protect their own culture and heritage, and and the Spaniards were not always the nicest in this attempt of expanding literally to other grounds. Yeah, no, Mexico.
So it's not. So you wouldn't see that in Mexico, or you wouldn't hear it, like you said. Spain is its home for flamenco.
Yeah, but there are a lot of, like, we have a flamenco academy here in San Diego. It's near Boulevard. There's a Peña Flamenca. So a lot of, it's not just all Spaniards. They're the ones who run it. They are usually often originally from Spain, but the ones who participate are the ones like you and I who fall in love with this art form and want to be somehow also involved with it, and they learn how to dance and sing. And my sister-in-law, who hopefully will come next Tuesday, she's from Texas, but she studied she studied so many years flamenco, was very great, and she's like me, longer in this family, 10 years longer than me. So it's really she has embraced it all her life, adult life almost. Yeah, so but the original one, you have to really go to Spain. But there's Los Angeles has a lot of, in Germany there's a lot of flamenco enthusiasts and schools and academy and dance performances, and in Germany flamenco is also pretty big. So
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, when do we don't have class at the center next week, or we do have music class at the Jewish Center, or where else are we going?
Yes, we do have Tuesday morning class will happen, yes, but no class on Wednesday at the JCC.
On Wednesday, and we can look to see where you are at other places, right? Like Wesley Palms.
Yeah. Do you do you get my plan, my weekly emails?
Yes, I did. And so the dates are just 1 week ahead. And so where you're at Wesley Palms or down the street from me, Wind and Sea, or where's that? The one down the street. I can catch you. I can catch you there.
That's right. So just look on the schedule sometimes because I send them out too late and I don't pay attention. So